All right, somebody pinch me, please. Is it real? It is still real that the Trump-endorsed Mike Lindell indeed lost that Republican primary for governor of Minnesota by 45,000 votes. And we saw that he demanded a recount, said he'd pay for it himself, $825,000. And so with the bill due on Monday, the My Pillow guy did not pay up. The most famous election fraud believer in America, the man who spent years, and by his own account, tens of millions of dollars, telling you that the machines and the data are rigged, finally got an election that he could audit, his own. And when the state said, sure, you can audit it, here's the invoice, he asked for an extension. And I want to start with the numbers here. Lisa DeMuth, the Speaker of the Minnesota House, she got 179,683 votes. Lindell, 134,282, a 45,000 vote hole. Normally, that's too big to recount. You concede and go back to selling your damn pillows. But on election night, Mike Lindell told reporters that he would not concede until every vote was counted and that his team had spotted anomalies. Okay, well, what are they? Lay it out. Tell us, Mike. And Minnesota called his bluff. They said, fine. They put out a full contingency plan approved by their state canvassing board. Statewide hand recount, open to the public and the press. It is the same procedure that they have used for 20 years. And the only thing they needed from Mike Lindell was a check. Deadline on Monday. But old Mikey Pillow, he didn't do that. He didn't pay. He has the money, but he wants Minnesota to play by his rules. They say his money is primed and ready, but he's not sending it because the state only wants to recount the votes for him and DeMuth, not for the other candidates. And he thinks that's illegal. So he wants the deadline waived until a court rules. And I want you to think about the legal theory here. He wants the other candidates' votes recounted too. Because if you recount everyone, maybe somebody else loses a few here and there, and the story changes from Mike lost by 45,000 votes to this whole thing's a mess. Mike Lindell does not want a result. He wants the mess. Because a mess sells books, sells campaign funds, and sells doubt. And that's all he wants. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Secretary of State's office answered in just a paragraph, saying that their plan follows state law, and it's the same plan they've used for 2 decades. And there have been no findings of fraud or irregularity. So have a nice day. So I've got to ask you guys in the comments, where do we draw the line? I've got no issue with a recount if a campaign pays for it. But you shouldn't be able to just drag this out forever, just like Donald Trump is doing, still trying to relitigate 2020. And why? Why are they doing this? Because it's always about the money. You got to remember, he put up in 2021 that $5 million to prove Mike wrong. Anyone that could show his election data was fake. So a software expert did it. Then he didn't want to pay. So an arbitration panel ordered him to pay. A federal judge upheld it. Mike said he didn't have the money. Then last year, a Denver jury found that he defamed a former Dominion executive and hit him for $2.3 million. And Mike Lindell has still told anyone with a microphone that he's lost everything, that the banks have strangled My Pillow, and that he's broke. So now he's got something else to sell more books on and sell people on his website on. And the winner here, it's not going to be Lisa DeMuth, even though she goes on to face Amy Klobuchar in the November election for the seat that Tim Walz is leaving. Lisa's not winning because instead of campaigning, the Republican nominee for governor of Minnesota has had to spend weeks of her general election campaign being audited by a pillow guy. God, I just love when it's Republican on Republican crime. And that's why I'm going to ask you guys to share this story everywhere. It's not going to get the attention that it deserves, but it should. And then I would absolutely love it if you guys considered becoming a member so that we can keep track of all of Mike Lindell's lies and you don't have to spend your money on a pillow.